This After Effects tutorial is sponsored by aejuice.com. In this After Effects tutorial, I'm going to show you guys how to create a very organic looking glitch animation inside of After Effects using Saber, which is a free plugin from Andrew Kramer Video Copilot, and obviously you guys know about it. If you don't, then I'll mention the link in the description below from where you can download the Saber plugin and also watch the video on how to use it. If not, I will be showing you guys how to use it in this particular tutorial, and it's gonna be super fun. Using today's technique, you will be able to create some nice stretchy glitches, and it looks super awesome as you can see, and the techniques are very easy and simple. You can tweak it according to your requirements, play around with it, have fun, and come up with your own abstract animation. So with that said, let's jump into After Effects and get started. Hey guys, make sure to check out I Want It All bundle from aejuice, which contains over 5,000 animated elements, transition, presets and titles for your projects. It comes with a handy pack manager plugin, and this is one of those investments that will last you for a lifetime. Oh, and they also have a free starter pack. It has over 100 animations that you can try it out for free. For more information, check out the link in the description below. Alright, so here we are in After Effects. Let's start by creating a new composition. I'm going to keep it 2560 into 1440. You can go with 1920 by 1080 if you want to. 30 FPS and 10 seconds long. Let's call this main, as this is our main composition. Hit OK. Let's create one more composition, which is going to be our logo placeholder, where you can type in any text or use any logo that you want. So I'm going to call this logo. Hit OK, and for the logo I'm going to use a text. You can, as I told you guys, use anything that you want. I'm going to type in power, just like our example, align it into the center, and for the font I will be using Dodger. Looks very cool with this effect, and let's set the size to around 180 pixels. Should be good, and align it properly. There we go. Let's go back into our main composition, drag and drop in the logo comp, then go into layer and auto trace. Make sure you keep all the settings as you see on the screen at the moment, and hit OK. So there we go. There we have created a simple mask. So I can hit U and actually get rid of all the keyframes that it has created. And then you can hit Ctrl Shift H to hide the mask and just see the layer. And then I will be going into effects and presets. So there we go. And let's search for Saber. Saber is a free plugin from Andrew Kramer, and I'm sure that you guys must have heard about it or maybe using it, because it's absolutely amazing and it's completely free. I'll mention the link down in the description. So there we go. And let's go into the custom core and set this from Saber to layer mask. So now it's going to drive an animation through the mask. And for the preset, there are tons of presets that you can choose from, and these are absolutely amazing. So for this particular effect, it's kind of an energy. So I'm going to go with an energy, or maybe let's go with an electric. Yeah, that looks much closer to the effect I am looking for. And I'm going to make it a bit more prominent blue. So that looks pretty cool right off the bat, as you can see, but we need to obviously animate this and tweak some settings. So the first thing that I'm going to do is let's increase the glow intensity all the way up to 100. Now it looks pretty crazy at the moment, but we don't need to worry about it, as we will be fixing it as we proceed with the animation. So let's jump in 3 frames forward in time. So hit page down 3 times, 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to create a keyframe on the glow intensity and the start offset, the start size and the start offset. All right, let's select the layer and hit U so we can see just the keyframe. Let's jump 2 frames forward, that is to 5 seconds, and let's move this to keyframes just like so. You can also, hold shift and, while moving the keyframe, it's going to snap in. So let's go to 1 second and set the glow intensity right here to 60%. let's go back to the start size and the start offset. Let's set both of them to 0. Now let's go back to 1 second and set both of them to 100. Then let's zoom in a bit. Let's jump 10 frames forward. Let's bring them down to 0 again. Let's go to 1 second and 25 frames and bring them up to 100. Then let's jump to 2 second and 5 frames and bring them down again to 0. So we are trying to create a nice kind of a reveal. Let's go to 2 second and 10 frames again. Let's set this up again to 100. Then I'll jump to 2 second and 20 frames and bring them down to 0 again. Then I'll go to around 4 second and 10 frames and bring down the start offset or increase the start offset to 50%. All right. So at the moment we have a really weird animation. I know it looks weird, but we will be fixing this very soon. So now I'm going to create keyframes on the end size and the end offset. So I'll go to right over here at the when the glow intensity is at 100. Create a keyframe on the end size and the end offset. I can select this, hit U, so we can see all the keyframes. Go to 1 second and create a keyframe on this end size and end offset. Let's go back and let's set them down to 25 and this one to 25 as well. So we have something like this. Pretty cool. Let's go right over here. Let's set the end size and end offset to 50 and this one to 50 as well. Let's go right over here and set them to 100 and this one to 100. Then I'm going to jump just before the end size is at 0 and bring this down to 0 and this one to 0 as well. Maybe I'll move this a bit more, just like that, and then set this to 50 and this one to 50. Then go a bit more forward and set them both to 100. Let's go right over here, bring them down to 0, go 1 frame forward and set them to 50 and 50. Then I'll go all the way up to 4 second and 10 frames and bring down the end size to 0. Now one more thing that I want to do, now to make it a bit more snappy, what I'm going to do is let's jump onto the flicker section and turn that on. Let's increase the flicker intensity all the way up to 500 and let's increase the flicker speed to 30. So now if I preview this, you can see we get this really nice flicker along with the start and the end offset animation, which looks pretty damn cool. Now what I'm going to do is let's select this layer, hit Ctrl D to duplicate it, select the bottom one and change the color to a nice orange. And then I'll go into the custom core and rotate the mask evolution to 180 degrees. And obviously you cannot see anything because I'm going to hit F4 and change the blending mode of both of these to add. And now we get this really cool effect. And it's looking very, very nice, I think. So let's preview this. As you can see, we get the super fast animation of the Saber, and that is what we are going for. Okay, so far so good. Now let's select both of these layers, hit Ctrl Shift C, and I'm going to call this Saber. Move all attributes and hit OK. Now the fun part starts. So now let's jump to 1 frame forward, hold Alt and open square bracket so that our animation starts from a black screen and then we get this snappy animation. So I'm going to go to around, let's say 10 frames. Then what I'm going to do is select the layer, go to effect and split layer, or you can hit Control Shift D. Then I'll just zoom in a bit, go to 1 second and 15 frame. Let's create one more split. So again, I can go into effects, split layer. Then I'm going to give it a gap, so I can just crop this layer, go to 20 frames. There we go. Then I'll go to 1 second, select the layer, effect, split layer. Then let's go to 12 frames, do the same thing. Edit, go to edit, split layer and crop this to 15 frames. So we have few black frames in between. Then I can just duplicate this, hit Control D, go to 25 frames and crop this one. So I'm gonna hold Alt and close square bracket. Then let's go to 2 second and 10 frames. And right over here at 2 second and 10 frame, I'm gonna add my logo, so I can hit the Enter key to add a marker so that I don't forget that this is the point, or I can just basically go and let's actually drag and drop in the logo that we have. Okay, so now we are done with the spacing. Now let's add some cool effects to this. So the first layer, I'm gonna add the unsharp mask just to make it a bit more sharp. Double click to apply that up. Let's increase the radius to 5. So now you can see we get a very nice and sharp looking effect. Also, you can switch to 16 bits per channel so that we don't get any kind of color bendings, and basically our glows look very, very nice. Then let's add a turbulent displacement. So let's type in turbulence displace. Let's increase the amount to all the way up to 350, and let's leave the size to 0, complexity to 0. I need a evolution, so I'm going to hold Alt and click on the stopwatch. Let's add a small expression, that is time times 200, which is going to keep the evolution continuously running. So we have, if I just bring this down, you can see we get this really cool look. Now this is a pretty abstract look, so you can play around with the amount of displacement you want. So I think this much looks good. Let's go with 240 or something. That looks much better. So as you can see, we get this very interesting look. Then let's jump on to the second one. So on the second one, I'm going to basically copy the unsharp mask. I'm going to actually use unsharp mask on each and every one of them. So I can just select them, hit Control V to just apply this. Let's select the second one. And on this, I'm going to use an effect called wave warp, which is a very interesting effect to use with this kind of glitches. So it gives this really nice look. If I just jump into the wave type and set this to, let's go with noise, and let's bring this down to around 5 or something, or actually let's go right here, set this to 0, create a keyframe, go right over here and set this to 20. So we have a basic animation, but we also need to change the direction to 0. So we have a horizontal wave, and we can obviously increase the wavelength all the way up to 100. So we get this really nice variation, as you can see. Then we have a pause, and then we have our next animation. So we have this really cool start, as you can see. Now obviously you can play around with the complete look to get the desired result. You can change the phase if you want. I think I'll go with something like that. Okay, that looks pretty nice. Then let's jump on to the third layer. On this one, I'm going to copy paste the turbulent displacement again. So hit Control C, select the third one, hit Control V. This time I'm going to increase the amount size to 300, and also maybe we can tweak the size a bit so we get a really different look. Maybe something like this. Let's go to 150. So we have this really nice look, as you can see. It has kind of a nice wavy look. It looks like the wave is going in a direction which looks pretty nice. Then we have the fourth layer. So I can just hit Control V again to copy paste the turbulent displacement. Let's increase the turbulent displacement to 300 this time. And then I'm going to duplicate this, hit Control D to duplicate it. Let's pull this a bit right over here. So on this layer, first of all, let's select everything except the logo and set the blending mode to add. And then I'm going to select this top layer that we have. Let's bring down the turbulence to 50. And the size, I'll leave it up to 100. That looks good. And let's see what we have. So you can see we have this nice two copies of animation kind of overlapping. Looks pretty nice. Maybe I'll increase this a bit. So let's go. So let's see what we have. So you can see we have this really cool animation as well with this. Pretty nice. Then let's jump on to the fifth layer and let's go to wave warp, add that up. Set this set the wave type to noise and let's increase the wave height to 125. And you can of course keep it this way if you want, but I like to keep it in a horizontal direction. So I'm going to set this to 0 and let's bring down the wave width to 20. And then let's add an effect called scale wipe, which is a really interesting effect when you're working with this kind of animation. So CC scale wipe. So let's go at the very start and set this to 0, create a keyframe on the stretch. And for the direction, I'm going to set this to -90. And then go right over here when it's about to end and set this to 100. So now we have this really interesting look, as you can see. Pretty cool, right? But to make it look a bit more organic, obviously, as you guys did, I'm going to add a turbulence displacement again. And you can go pretty crazy with this again if you want to. But I'm going to keep it something pretty subtle and organic. Nothing crazy here. So you can see we have this really cool look. Then let's go a few frames forward and let's actually move this. Let's go right over here when the energy is off and let's place our logo right here. Hit T, create a keyframe on the opacity and hold Alt and Control at the same time and click on this keyframe to create a whole keyframe. Then let's go 2 frames forward in time. Let's set this to 0. And let's go again 2 frames forward. 1, 2, 1, 2. Let's set this to 100. And I'm going to basically do the same exact thing again. Let's set this to 0. Let's go right here. Let's copy these 2 keyframes. Hit Control C, Control V. Go right here. Control V. So we have a nice flicker, as you can see. And at the end, I can set this to 100. So we have this really nice flicker. Now what I'm going to do is select this layer that we have, hit Control D, pull this at the top and let's place it somewhere around there. Actually, let's place it below the logo that we have. And what I'm going to do is try to create a nice turbulent effect. Something like that, which looks pretty crazy, as you can see. And then let's select this Saber, that is the final one. Hit T, create a keyframe on the opacity, go to 4 seconds and set this all the way up to 0, down to 0 actually, and hit F9. So this is our final animation, as you can see. Pretty cool. We have this really nice organic look. There we go. So finally, after so many tweaks, we get the desired result. So let's preview the complete animation. As you can see, the complete output is looking very nice. Really happy with the complete look. Now, one thing that I want to do is tweak some settings and add some really nice color correction as well to make the complete scene ready. So first of all, let's hit Control Y to create a new solid called this BG for background. Let's make it a nice dark color. I'm gonna hit OK, pull this at the back, Then let's create a new adjustment layer, call this glow, and then go into effects and preset, type in glow. There we go. Let's increase the radius really nice and high, and let's keep it in the way that we want. That is looking pretty good. For the background, I'm gonna add a fill on this, and maybe I'll keep it a nice black color. And then we can also create a new color correction layer. So create a new adjustment layer, call this CC for color correction. And basically let's add a simple curves adjustment just to punch up the contrast. And we can also add some noise. So just to get rid of some color bendings, I'm gonna add a 4% of noise. I think 4 is a bit too much. Let's go with 3. So as you can see, it's looking very, very nice. Let's add a subtle movement. Also, I'm gonna animate the glow. So let's go right here, select the glow layer, hit T, create a keyframe on the opacity. Not on the opacity actually, let's create a keyframe on the glow intensity. And let's go to 4 seconds and set this all the way down to 0. So I can select the keyframes, hit F9 to ease them. So we have this really nice look. Looks absolutely amazing, I think. Pretty cool. And finally, create one more adjustment layer. I'm just gonna be lazy and type in T and go into effects and preset and type in transform. And add a very minimal zoom animation or scale animation. So scale height, create a keyframe on the scale height, go back and set this to 120. So we have a really nice, zoom, kind of a zoom animation for our text. Pretty cool. Now finally, let's go ahead and add some nice RGB on this. So to do that, I'm going to select all the layers, hit Ctrl Shift C, call this animation. I know the tutorial is getting a bit long, but there are so many steps. It's almost like creating a course, I think, because it's almost half an hour with this tutorial. But I hope you guys are enjoying, because the effect is so interesting that I really enjoy making this. So we have this. Let's go into effects and preset and type in shift, because we will be adding shift channels to this, and set everything to off except the blue. Let's hit Ctrl D, select the second one, set the blue to full off and turn on the green. Then select this, hit Ctrl D, select the third one, set the green to full off and set this to red. And the reason you cannot see anything, because I need to select all these layers and set them to add. All right, and then move one frame forward by hitting page down, move this layer and move this one frame forward. So now we get a pretty sick effect. You can see the powerful glows are looking absolutely amazing. And when you add some very interesting and cool sound effects, it's gonna look even more cooler. So yeah, that is a complete wrap for today, guys. I know a bit long, this tutorial is a bit long, but I hope you guys are still here, enjoyed it and learned something new today. So if you enjoyed this tutorial, please do subscribe to the channel. It motivates me a lot for creating and bringing you new stuff. So yeah, with that said, I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, make sure to subscribe, comment, like and follow me on Instagram at dope.motions. And I will see you guys in the next video. Till then, take care and always stay raw, stay creative. Peace out.
Drop it.